feel like I learned so much about Irish history from this movie. Hello, Mathew.
Hi, guys. What movie are we doing now?
Boondock Saints, and thanks for prepping.
Well, no, when you give me the list, I do them weeks in advance.
I'm a night before kind of guy.
This one, though, I watched this morning.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
Fresh.
I just forgot which one we're doing.
Okay. So, welcome to the Two Older Pure Gold Movie Podcast. In today's special St. Patrick's Day episode, we're discussing the 1999 action movie, The Boondock Saints. By the way, this movie took place on Wednesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
Perfect.
The format of our podcast, two Gen Xers rewatch beloved movies from our youth to find out, are they really as good as we remember? To help us debate and ultimately pass judgment, we ask our millennial co-hosts to watch these movies for the first time and help us determine, are they too old or pure gold? I'm your host, Olen Vanderleeden, representing Gen X. Joining me today is my Gen X co-host, Mathew Stockton.
Hi.
Wow, bringing the energy. Representing the millennials this week, as close as the McManus brothers, we have musician Clef, Seeley, and non-musician Anthony.
Top of the morning to you.
Aye.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
No,
I knew you guys
no.
would bring it. Today's movie is the 1999 movie The Boondock Saints. The Boondock Saints stars Willem Dafoe, Sean Patrick Flannery, and Norman Reedus. The Boondock Saints was written and directed by Troy Duffy, and it was his very first movie. Duffy went from complete unknown to massively famous almost overnight. He was a bartender with no real film background who wrote a script, sold it, and suddenly had a movie development deal. So I guess there's hope for the rest of us. More on Troy later. The tagline from the movie poster is, "Thy kingdom come, they will be done." IMDb describes the film as two Irish Catholic brothers become vigilantes in order to try to wipe out Boston's criminal underworld in the name of God. Now, for those of you that have not seen the movie, yes, I asked my 94-year-old dad to watch The Boondock Saints and try and explain it.
I can't wait.
Lots of murders for a good cause? That is the question. Well, not mine, but possibly one of the viewers might ask. The story is about Irish twin brothers Connor and Murphy, who believed they received a calling to eliminate Boston's criminal underworld. Soon the public begins to call them saints. Also, brilliant and peculiar FBI agent Paul Smecker. Smecker has a talent for solving crimes by waving his hands in a peculiar way while walking and listening to opera music. Smecker tracks down the saints by identifying Rocco's shot-off fingers. Finally, the saints manage to kill the remaining target in a courtroom shootout. They then publicly declare their mission is to destroy evil. After that, the public debate takes off about whether vigilance is the best way to go. Can't wait to hear the podcast's debate on that issue.
Okay, so first thing I'll tell you guys, my dad loved this movie.
I could see that.
He's a big vigilantism guy.
Yeah.
I have no idea whether you guys liked it or not. I can't wait to hear. I'm very excited about this. Who's going?
I mean, I wrote some stuff down. I could say some thoughts because honestly, I went back and forth. I've gone back and forth since Friday about this.
I get
so
that.
Here's what I wrote down. Okay, I wrote down, "Oh my God," to match the blasphemous energy of the film. This movie is a spectacular mess. It's a truly spectacular mess. I want to say that it's bad like The Room, starring Tommy Wiseau. You guys have seen The Room.
Yeah.
And to say that, that comes from it felt very hasty. It felt very like Bud's making a movie. That's how I felt about it. But the thing that saves the movie from being completely unwatchable is the acting is just on full blast this entire movie. And whether or not it's good acting or bad acting, I was enthralled. I had to know how this movie ended. And On top of that, I wrote some jokes. I wrote, this is the Irish car bomb of movies. I wrote, this movie has more holes than a Russian gangster. The editing of this movie feels like it was done by the demon from The Exorcist. I don't know about the Troubles, but this movie's got 'em. And if I recommended this movie to someone, they'd probably think I was hit in the head by a falling latrine.
Wow, that Benedict
Nice.
was working overtime for you, Eric.
You worked hard for this one. I like that.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah, your review was good. Okay, who's
I'll
next?
piggyback off that. I
Yeah.
think I totally agree. It did, as a rewatch, it felt hasty and kind of jumbled and whatever. I love the story behind it, like the backstory, I guess, the meaning behind it. The guys fighting for good and whatever. But it was a harder watch than I remember. Willem Dafoe saved this movie for me.
Willem Dafoe saved this
He's
movie for
off
me.
the charts.
He's
Off
the best
the
in this.
charts.
Off the charts.
He might be the ugliest transvestite in modern movie history, though.
Nah, I've done worse.
Matthew, I'm dying to know what you thought about this movie.
You know, it wasn't like unwatchably terrible. And as the boys pointed out, Willem Dafoe acting was what I loved about it. He's acting
Superb.
like he's acting like he's an avant-garde theater versus a crime film, which is fun. But whoever directed this, I never heard of them before. It feels like fan fiction of greater directors. It feels like fan fiction of Tarantino and Danny Boyle.
Yep.
Oh, so well put.
Sort of like somebody like trying to copy their style, but it's not his, so he's just not quite getting it right. The energy's undeniable. It was enjoyable enough, but it feels like a cheap copy.
So
Yeah.
I really don't like that editing style that they had in this movie.
The
It's
editing is-
jumping and cutting and
The editing
green
is
flashing.
horrible. The editing is actually like deprived. It's like it's hard to even believe how
well,
bad the editing is.
this will all snap into focus for you when I tell you a little bit about the movie because it's got an interesting story behind it, Matthew. But this movie, I loved it. I mean, I literally loved this movie. I loved it so much I went and watched the sequel right away because I'm like, I need more from these guys. Spoiler that there's a sequel. First of all, I like Vigilante movies, but the best thing is this movie had a homemade vibe to it, and I kind of liked it. And the acting was so over the top, like you guys said. I loved the characters, and if it wasn't for the acting talent in this movie, I would have guessed it was really just made by a film student and a film student that's trying to
the
pay
actors-
homage to his favorite action directors.
It's true.
Right?
It's true. It's
true.
it's the actors are better than the movie.
Yes. Yes, the two Irish brothers, I mean, I don't really have complaints about their characters as far as the dynamic of the two of them and the sequence and the everything they're doing and the symmetry and I liked that. I thought that was interesting to look at. Why do they have a third guy named Rocco following them around the entire film? He's clearly unhinged. He's clearly a bad friend. He's clearly a liability. He's clearly going to die. Why?
Loyalty to their dumb friend.
They kind of just threw away everything by joining him and
They threw everything away.
Like, oh, you just committed a multi-murder. Let's just go and jump off the deep end
Multi-murder.
with you.
And none of what he did was nearly half as cool as the killings that they did. You know, they killed with style.
Yeah, he's kind of like the crime cuck.
Yeah. He's the crime cuck. He's the... That's a good way of putting it.
Well,
That's a great way of putting it.
I can tell you when I look at my group of friends, I've definitely got a Rocco in the group. There's no doubt about it.
And that's you.
Okay.
I always worry about being the Rocco.
So, first, let me tee up some of the fun parts of this movie. So, Boondock Saints was written and directed by Troy Duffy, and this was his very first movie, obviously. But Duffy went from complete unknown to massively famous overnight. This guy was a bartender with no film background who wrote a script, then somehow sold it and suddenly got a Hollywood development deal overnight.
So this movie is actually like a like a story of rags to riches.
This is rags to riches. Bartender, basically a bartender saw somebody getting mugged in his apartment building and said, "Oh, that sucks. I wish I could take them out." Wrote a story about it, got a film development deal, got to direct it, got real actors to do it. It's an unbelievable story, and I'll tell you the other half of that story later, but
this movie was delivered onto us by God, is what you're really telling us.
Yeah. And Duffy, so the director, he only did one more film after this, the sequel to it, and his rise and then fall was captured in a documentary called Overnight. So when I did the research on this, I read the story of Duffy, like rise to the top and then drops off, and I watched the documentary and it's fascinating. He ended up being arrogant, combative, spectacularly self-destructive. The exact moment that Hollywood was basically handing him the keys. And as an example of his conceit, in the DVD commentary, Duffy got angry at people who compared him to Tarantino and Guy Ritchie, claiming he influenced them. Even though even though this movie is after their movies.
So what you're saying is that this movie is true to its form. Like the artist who created it is true to his form.
Definitely. This was made by a movie lover who knew nothing.
The bartender who made it.
This was made by a guy who knew nothing about making movies, somehow got to write and direct a movie and get actors on it, and then was so cocky that everybody then just boycotted him. And he never did anything again. Rags to riches.
Hubris.
Hubris.
Okay, bringing a fact forward. The woman the priest refers to in the opening scene of the movie, Kitty Genovese, was an actual person. She was raped and murdered by a serial rapist in 1964 outside of her house in Queens, while many eyewitnesses did nothing to save her. This apathetic bystander phenomenon is now referred to as the bystander effect.
The bystander effect.
Genovese syndrome, stemming from the inability to take action or know whether action has already occurred.
You think everybody else is going to do something about it.
Right. They teach you that story in Psychology 100, like when you take that in college. Yeah.
So, Clef, there's some interesting music in this. The heavy use of the Dropkick Murphys apparently helped build its cult status. What'd you think of that music?
I mean, the music definitely has lived on as like representative of that movie, right? Like everything that I knew about that movie, I knew because of the Dropkick Murphys, because of like that scene, and because of like there were many shots from that movie that were reverberant throughout time, right? I mean, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz both make references to that movie plenty. I myself have yelled out "motherfucker" and like do the shooting. That's fun. That's fun. It's fun. I thought where for me this movie fails spectacularly over and over again is the editing. The music comes in basically like it's been drop kicked into the movie. It's like it's been totally Murphy'd. It's just the music was there for aesthetic purpose, but it fell flat to me in its effectiveness in like carrying the story. I was still very much like, this is a silly movie. I'm watching a silly movie, and I don't think the movie did anything to try and hint away from that. Like if anything, it leaned into that. Like the opening credits are them working at a meat packing plant and having like a meat fight. And then they're being
punching a woman,
punching a woman who was really
deserved it.
She was just there to be punched.
that was Dot. Her name is Dot Mary. She was in Glee, and she's a shot put champion in real life.
Shocking.
Before we get off the music, Clef, I just wanted to tell you that Dropkick Murphys weren't his first choice. So he wanted to have Led Zeppelin's When the Levee Breaks in the movie, but they asked for $17 million. He wanted to have the Beatles. Wow. They asked for $17 million, and he wanted the Doors 5-1 in the movie, and they asked for $17 million. So he didn't have the $50 million budget for those three songs.
Well, maybe
next 17. Is that like a Hollywood number?
I guess.
I think there was some price fixing going on.
I think there was some collusion for sure. They're like, this dick is coming around trying to buy songs. When he calls you, say $17 million. Okay, let me ask this. How do you guys feel about Vigilantes? Vigilante movies?
So I actually, and we'll get to remake, sequel, or prequel because I worked hard on that. I I think it is the time for vigilantes again.
Well, I love vigilante movies, and I got a list of the best ones here: Death Wish, The Crow, The Brave One was not bad, and even Falling Down, which Clef and Mathew, you guys saw, that was a bit of a vigilante-ish theme as well.
In a
And
way.
Batman, the best vigilante of all time.
True.
V for Vendetta comes to mind. I mean, look, vigilante movies need to have some style. Your vigilantes need to have some style. These vigilantes had some style. I'll give it to them. But their justification, I mean, they were having a good time. Should your vigilantes have a good time?
Yeah, usually the movies, it comes from trauma, right? Like Death Wish, your family was attacked, and now you
Yeah,
get revenge.
Death Wish is a classic.
But I guess their father was a trained assassin, right? So it like runs in the family.
I guess.
Yeah, they really just looped that in there right at the end.
They really just slapped that in.
They did. They did.
Daddy?
Daddy.
Okay, Mathew, if you were a cop, would you be an opera cop?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, I knew that answer. I just had to get it on the record for the listeners.
I was actually put the movie on, and I walked in the kitchen to get some coffee, and the opera is playing, and I forgot that I was watching a movie, and then suddenly it goes to speaking again, and I like jumped and spilled my coffee.
I have another question. A scene that I looked at and thought, oh man, that's tough. Do you think you could tell a joke on demand when a monster's demanding it from you? I'm so bad
Yes.
at remembering jokes.
No, I have a cache of favorite jokes.
Okay, Mathew.
Cache of pre-murder jokes.
Matthew, make us laugh. Tell us a joke.
Two women are sitting in a house, and the doorbell rings, and it's a delivery boy, and he says to the one woman, "A dozen red roses for you from your boyfriend." And she says to her friend, "Oh my God, this means I'm going to be on my back with my legs in the air all weekend." And her friend says, "Don't you have a vase?"
That's a better joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
But
going
I
to
don't-
get whacked for sure.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have laughed at that one. If I had a monster threatening me, I might tell the same joke.
Okay, I'm rolling into best parts here, and the first thing I'm going to say is I actually love the storytelling style where they view it through the cop's eyes first, and then and halfway through, or that last scene where the cop was in the scene while it was happening. I really like that style.
That was the only good one.
That was the one good part of the editing.
Yeah.
Is the way they told the violence that happened. And I have to say, I really liked all the violent scenes. They were fun. They were fun violent scenes.
They did do violence well. I mean,
Yeah.
I was thinking about how they would have had to have done that shot with the toilet falling off of the ledge and like jumping down to it, and it being in slow motion, and like being from the bottom like that, and then hitting the guy and smashing like the shots. There were a lot of great shots in this movie. Similarly, like that last scene you're talking about. Yeah, Willem Dafoe in that scene,
Under the
like
pool
narrating
table.
what's happening under the pool table, doing all of that next to them, and like just the full acting of it. Like he was like, oh, so good. But again, the editing is where all of that fell apart. The cutting room floor is where all of that failed, where you just see things that didn't line up properly, where you just see rules broken, and it's not in an interesting way. It's in a I don't know what I'm doing way.
I thought all the gun fighting scenes were awesome. They were done really well. One thing that I'm kind of always picky about is like counting the rounds shot, and then like, oh, some guy's got a revolver and he shoots 15 times or something. But the one scene when Rocco killed the guys in the deli, he did fire 6 shots and then had a bunch of empty like blank pulls. So I really appreciated those.
I can appreciate that.
And if you're gonna have an action movie that's based around guns, if that's not your strongest point, then you're gonna have a bad movie, I think.
Agreed. Well, just again, best parts. The actors were great. Willem Dafoe, we already mentioned, was fantastic in this. Like, this might be his best role. I don't know.
Or
Oh, and the scene when he's in the bed with his boyfriend and he gets the call.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite scene.
Oh yeah, when he slaps him on the head.
so are we doing best parts now?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Yeah, Willem Dafoe. I really like that he's a gay lead character, but not not a stereotype victim or ultra femme, which is unheard of in the 90s, right?
It was very interesting to think about, and like, because the second he walked into the scene, he seemed out of place, and that was like the first thing I picked up on. Which normally I normally am completely blind to Cade, to all of it.
I like the mob house conversation pit. I really want a conversation pit, like the sunken sofa.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
The crime scene reconstructions, and okay, I have to say this. When the two brothers are in their cots in jail cell with their shirts off and the water's dripping on them, and they sit up and they look like they're getting blowjobs or something, and start praying. I had to go knock one out and then come back to the movie after that. And all the violent scenes. Those are my favorite scenes.
I liked, so Billy Connolly as a bad guy. Like he was so good. Billy Connolly is a comedian, right?
Yeah.
And I thought he was great. Tough brothers. So I wrote down, I wish I had a brother like this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, Mark's not the guy.
He's not the guy. He would have left me there.
Yeah, for sure.
He would have pushed me in front of them and gone. I liked Doc, the bartender with Tourette's.
Yep.
I would go to that bar for sure. I would hang out there. It's cheesy, but the part where they're not harming the innocents, like standing up for the priest and the cops, like you're not killing him. I kind of like that part. Yeah, it was good. Okay, well, we must be able to come up with some worst parts then. What do you have?
Killing the cat.
Right, that was number one on mine.
I thought that was pretty funny.
The opening scenes during the opening credits, it felt like the movie was just going to be too long, and they had to like shorten it, and so they put all these like little clips of what's happening to them before the movie starts during the opening credits. It didn't feel like it worked, and I think this director kind of just threw every sort of directing trick he could throw into a movie, like without any precision. I think some of the characters were a bit cartoonish, and I think the film mistook trying to be stylish for depth.
How about Ron Jeremy as a tough guy? Ron Jeremy, porn
Italian
star.
mobster.
I was looking at that going, this is...
I was wondering that.
We need the greasiest guy we could ever find.
He was greasy, that's for sure.
How is that guy a porn star?
Oh, he's the most prolific porn star of all time.
But he's fat and ugly.
Yep,
and don't get me wrong.
That's
why
I'm not so worried about my body anymore.
It's not what you look for in a porn star. Well, maybe some people do. I don't know.
All I can say is he's the best known, most prolific porn star that I know of.
Is it? Maybe it's because the guys feel like if he can get laid, I can too.
Yeah, there's a whole straight mentality that goes into this. It makes perfect sense.
Interesting.
Every time this movie faded to black, I went, ugh. Like, so like by the end, like honestly, like at one point I looked at the time, I was like, seriously, like how much more have we got of this? And I looked, I'm like, okay, it's like 30 more minutes, I can handle this. Like, because of every time it would fade down to black and then come back up to a scene that was kind of just right away, I was like,
a sigh, a big sigh.
Just a big sigh of just like, please. And then there was one point where just like they were in the scene when they're in the, I thought that the shootout where they were in the, whatever you call it, the porn theater, or like the I don't know if
the sin bin. The
sin bin, thank you. Yeah, I thought that was probably the worst of the shootings.
Yeah.
And part of that for me was when there was a like sitcom style away cut, like a swipe cut. And I was just like, okay, so what? You just like the software you were using? You just picked the wrong
the swoosh.
You used the swoosh instead of the fade to black, just furious.
That's hilarious. It does seem a little bit like they used Microsoft PowerPoint to edit this.
Seriously.
Okay, I had it. It bothered me so much I had to go look it up. Fixing gaping wounds with an iron, like they had fingers cut off.
That's not how that works.
Fingers cut off with arteries that are spewing blood, and they're just gonna put a hot iron on it. So apparently that wouldn't actually work in real life.
Yep.
Shocker.
I thought that the scene where Willem Dafoe found the finger was his worst scene in the movie, because it didn't seem to me like the build-up before he found the finger, because the way he found the finger was that he just got too above himself of like, how are they doing this? I don't understand. This is beyond me. And he just like has the meltdown
and throws himself in the bushes.
He throws himself to the bushes and there's the finger in front of him. That bothered me because it didn't suit the character more than anything.
that was weird. That was weird. I'm like, no, yeah, I totally agree. I'm like, this character wouldn't have freaked like that.
It would have made way more sense for me that he would just like wave his hands and like arrive at it.
Yeah.
I like that he threw himself in the bushes in a hissy fit.
This is too. They used ammonia. This is all ruined. I hate a cold crime scene.
Olen's seen me do that a few times.
I've done it myself a few times.
Hissy fit, throw myself in the bushes.
We've all been there.
The tism runs deep. Okay. Agent Smecker walks. I'm just looking through the quotes right now.
Okay, let's go to favorite lines then. What do you got? I killed your cat, you druggy bitch.
My two favorite lines are when the one guy says, "I just want to cuddle," and Willem Dafoe says, "Cuddle, what a fag." And my other favorite line is, "Just pour the drink, you fairy fuck." And then all the gay guys gasp because I just fucking love that it's a gay character doing that, and he's not. It's so not stereotypical that I was howling with laughter with those two lines.
Yeah.
So I like the homage to Back to the Future when the mobster says, "Why don't you make like a tree and get the fuck out of here?"
By the way, you guys can thank me in case those are your favorite lines, but you didn't feel like you were allowed to say it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I could say that. It's a good word, but I don't know about the podcast.
And I kind of liked it's not good as a standalone line, but in the context when they say it's way easier than I thought. After they gun down funny. The guy, like it's not so hard.
That was great. You had more than that, didn't you, Olen? There's
when they were asking Smecker, would they harm innocents? And he said, the two Irish guys know. The Italian guy, maybe. He's an idiot.
And he's in the booth with the priest. That's so funny.
I also kind of liked when Rocco was the scene where he was feeling up the passed out stripper. And they're like, Rocco, what are you doing? God. And he says, I'll tip her.
So bad.
I'll kill him. I'll make up for that.
Yeah, I liked that the brothers were like, it's like a scumbag yard sale in here. And then he says, yeah, we should come down here and clean up once a week. You know, there used to be a website that told you, like, movies that had the most number of, like, swear words of a certain number. Yeah. I would wonder how much this movie, like, ranks on that. Because, like, just the number of fucks and shits and swear words, like, compared to dialogue, like, how many words? It's probably, like, in the 20 to 30% range, I would say.
Must be up there. Well, now I want to go to my favorite part, which is to find out how this movie actually did. Do you guys think it was successful?
No, because I can't. And when you brought it up, Olen, I'd never actually heard of it.
Yeah. See, I'm digging deep for a good St. Patrick's Day episode.
It used to always be on TV when I was like a teenager, and I remember watching it several times.
I always saw trailers of it, but the only thing that I really knew about this movie was from Bowling for Columbine.
That ties in. So according to Box Office Mojo Worldwide, the Boondock Saints was so low on the list it didn't crack the top 200.
Yeah.
This was the year that The Phantom Menace was the box office leader and Boondock Saints was beat by everything. And this time, for the first time, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. It was beat by everything. Even The Limey beat it by 60 times. Remember The Limey, Mathew?
Yeah, great movie.
And Pokemon, the movie, beat it by 3,000 times.
I remember seeing that in theaters. I was like...
Can I just jump in for 1 sec about what Eric just said? I chat GPT'd it, and apparently, according to chat GPT, the Boondock Saints, the word fuck and its variations are used about 239 times during its runtime, which is roughly around the top 20 to 30 films of all time for that specific word.
Nice.
There you go.
Interesting.
Good fact.
Maybe that's why my dad has been using that word more lately. Shakespeare in Love was the Oscar winner this year, and without a hint of exaggeration, I'd rather watch Boondock Saints than Shakespeare in Love any day.
Mm-hmm. Any day.
Okay, good. Glad I got some agreement there. The budget for this film, I think the budget surprised me more than the box office. Let's flip it. Let's let you guys guess the budget on this movie.
50 million.
37
million? Oh my god, I don't know. I would assume that this movie was like like a million. Like I would think like under a million.
Yeah, Clef, you're on the right track. It was six million. Like I was surprised that they spent 6 million on it. I kind of thought like,
I can't believe they got Willem Dafoe for that.
Yeah, no, because that's why I was like, well, Willem Dafoe would have been like what 15 million right there.
Yeah.
so. Now it gets even more fun. The box office, $45,000.
No way. That's like 2 movie theaters.
So this movie was given a limited release in the United States due to the Columbine massacre.
Right.
So it was only shown in 5 theaters and only for 1 week. However, it did later develop a cult status from word of mouth following the success of DVD sales. So the interesting thing is it made an estimated $50 million on VHS. So it made...
Was it also... Oh, then you said this guy was a massive asshole. Was it also revenge? Did the studio kind of go, fuck you, if he was such a dick?
No, I don't think so, because they wanted their money back. But it was partially because of the Columbine... Well, mostly because of the Columbine massacre. Apparently, that a shoot-'em-up film was not going to get in the theaters. They all refused to take it in the theaters.
But why? That's American culture.
Well, to be clear about this, the Columbine shooters, those 2 boys, they went into that school wearing black trench coats and sunglasses and guns, and they did the whole thing like that, right? Like,
yeah,
like that was the whole, like it wasn't that they weren't doing it, that it was totally coincidental, but those events were like 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, but it is such American culture, like.
But Columbine was the first big shooting. Like it wasn't ingrained in society like regularly the way it is now.
I can see it having a big reaction, especially being so close. Just the overreaction of not wanting to be associated
They were
with
literally
it.
like 2 or 3 weeks apart. No,
Do you have any facts about why this movie's so hard to find on like why we could only find it on like a Daily Motion? Like why no streaming services have it?
I don't know that actually. It's interesting question. I just, before we leave that last point, so 45,000 in the theater and then 50 million on VHS. Duffy, who directed it, his contract didn't give him royalties on video sales, only on box office.
Wow.
Oops.
So he never got to taste the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Sounds like it happened to a great person there.
So I know it's going to help you guys out, but I want to give you a hint for Rotten Tomatoes this time, okay? And the hint is, this is the biggest gap we've ever had between critics and audience. That's probably not a surprise, but what do you think? How close can you get?
It's got to be like critics 13, audience 92.
The critics would have had to have sunk this movie, in my assumption. Maybe, but I don't know. Like maybe the audience, because like there are a lot of things about this movie that are terrible, and also I could see, like, I'm not Catholic, but I could see like the Catholicism, the blasphemism of the Catholicism, like offending a lot of people. So I don't know. Maybe I would say like critics 35. Let's say critics 35. Let's say audience 40.
I'm gonna go in the middle of the critics with you guys. I'm gonna say like 24, and audience 80.
Wow, even with a hint, this was a tough one for you guys. Critics 26, audience 91.
Wow.
91% of people that watched this movie said, "Yeah, it's good. Go see it."
That's a very high score.
So
that's a very high score.
So, Clef, you had a 60. That's a bad score.
Thanks.
Anthony 14 and Mathew 13. So you just beat out Anthony. Anthony, you were almost bang on with the audience.
Yeah, dude. You said 90 what? 3?
92.
92, and it was a 91. So you figured people were gonna like it then. Well, they did.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. It's like it's long and there's a lot to it and it's jumpy, but like doesn't really feel like an almost 2-hour movie.
It flew by.
Yep.
I think that's what you were talking about earlier, Clef, with like the cutting of like the scenes. It all feels very compartmentalized, and you're like you're just taking on 20-minute segments, maybe.
Chapterization of it. Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Totally.
Okay, I got some fun trivia for you. So first of all, Troy Duffy's screenplay was inspired by his disgust at seeing a drug dealer taking money from a corpse across the hall from his apartment. Billy Connolly was so excited to be playing the psycho with the gun strapped all over him that they had to add the cigar to his character because he couldn't stop smiling. No Catholic churches in the area would allow filming in their churches due to objections to the plot.
So would they do Protestant church?
Yeah, good question. Probably. This is another example of Duffy's arrogance. He flew to New York City to meet Ewan McGregor and offer him one of the lead roles.
That would have been awesome.
Duffy got drunk and got into an argument with him, and McGregor passed on the role.
This guy seems like a dick.
Well, check this. So Duffy dismissed several casting choices in the movie. He refused to meet with Brad Pitt because he found his accent in The Devil's Own unconvincing. And he rejected Keanu Reeves, calling him a fucking punk. And he refused Ethan Hawke, calling him a talentless fool.
Oh, man.
See, that seems so crazy to me because I didn't say this in worst parts, but I thought Norman Reedus' character was the worst character in this freaking movie. He had the worst Irish accent.
He does have
It
a
was terrible.
But he only has one accent. Like, it's the same one that he does in all of his movies and all of his shows.
Yeah, it's just it was so bad. It pulled me out of it because the brother seems like he's actually Irish.
Did they ever explain why the brothers speak Gaelic and like Spanish and Italian and German and French and English?
Something about their mother wanted them to learn it, or because they only speak. Yeah.
Were they not like?
I had
Irish
it in
orphans?
Best Parts, thugs that are multilingual.
That's a good point.
Matthew, one more piece of trivia for you. The reason the cat gets shot is because Duffy had a bad relationship with a girl that had 4 cats.
Ew.
This guy's a
even worse.
prick.
Yeah, this guy's a prick.
Has he learned his lesson? Has he found Jesus or anything since he blew up his life?
I can give you an update, but you guys should watch the documentary on him. He also had a band, Clef, and he got himself a record contract and thought he was going to be a millionaire, and his debut album sold 900 copies in total.
Hey, listen, been there, done that. Like, I get what that.
But you're not a dick.
You're not a dick.
Thank you.
You deserve to sell albums. He does not.
Yeah, I think that he wrote that joke to that mobster for Rocco to tell. I think he wrote that joke unironically. Like, I think he thought that joke was going to get a big laugh.
While we're on it, go out and buy Clef's album.
I'd
Thank
buy
you.
it just because you're a nice guy. I don't even know
Give
what you're
Clef
doing.
a follow on Spotify. I'm a day oneer.
It's a good album. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a day one or two. I think I got in there just after Anthony. Woke or joke? Anything?
I mean, there's
where
a few
should we?
things. I
Yeah.
thought they were all funny, but there's a few
I mean,
things.
touching a girl's boob when she's passed out isn't a good thing.
Okay.
Yep.
The one I liked was from the woman he punched when she said, the rule of thumb came from the reason you can't beat your wife with a stick bigger than your thumb.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, what kind of damage are you gonna do with this?
It should have been the rule of wrist, he said. Should have been the
But
rule of wrist.
That is where that expression comes from.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got a few reviews for you guys.
Wait.
Yeah.
Why was Willem Dafoe in drag? Why?
Because he wanted to get into the house, so he got into drag to
But he
get
walked in. But he walked in with a gun. Why didn't he just go in, guns blazing?
because we all wanted to see him in drag.
Fair enough.
That was a really odd scene. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but it was odd.
I feel like Willem, like with the budget of this movie, they probably paid him so little, and he's like, I'm doing whatever I want to do for this role, and this is what I want.
He clearly took this role into his own hands. He clearly like vigilanteismed his own role in this movie.
He was great. He was great.
So good. Okay, however you felt about this movie, I promise you there's others who liked it more or less than you. For this movie, the number of 10-star reviews seems to confirm the cult status. 331 10-star reviews out of 1,000 reviews, with many calling it underrated. So just a couple of snippets for you. Guy called Party Hard says, see Boondock Saints and get ready to have a good old Celtic time. Next review, this is a perfect example of movie critics being out of touch with audiences. No, the ratings seem to agree. I like this one. A guy called Smells Like Cheese. His review, I went to Blockbuster Video, found it in the employees' favorite section, but I waited to the last minute to watch it. Now I'm upset with myself because I wanted to see it again. So I went to Best Buy and got it for $9.99.
But I'm not going to trust anyone whose screen name is, what was his first name? Party Hard.
He smells like cheese.
Right.
Smells Like Cheese was his name.
And well, the two before that was Party Hard. I don't trust anyone who uses the word party.
Do you trust a reviewer called Dark Knight?
No.
I feel like they'd know Vigilantes.
Well, he says this movie is what would happen if Tarantino made a sequel to Pulp Fiction.
There you go.
Sorry, Quentin. Let's hear from people who liked it less. There were actually only 11 people out of over 1,000 reviews who gave it a 1-star review. This is really a cult favorite. This is why I found this so interesting. It's just that difference between critics and audience. Anyhow, somebody called Bank Bastard asks, why can't mobsters shoot? I was ashamed of myself for watching. I was hoping nobody would come in the room and catch me. My dad said the same thing.
Yeah.
Next reviewer, Ron Jeremy is one of the best actors in the film. There's only a few movies I've walked out of, but after finishing this one, I felt soiled. I can't believe someone told me this was a good movie.
After this movie, I'd watch Willem Dafoe in a porno. How about that?
With Ron Jeremy?
Maybe.
Yeah, imagine just someone walking in on you during that Willem Dafoe drag scene. That would be hard to explain.
Listen, there's a lot to unpack.
It would have been worse when I was knocking one out with the T-boys getting dripped on in jail.
Anthony, now I'm just picturing my mom walking in and my dad in that scene.
I'm doing it for the podcast, I swear.
One more review. A guy called New Sense says, all you reasonable people out there, please tell the truth about this movie and tell people this movie is incredibly bad so they can save themselves the torture of having to sit through the movie that can only be enjoyed by people who sniff glue. Okay, there's lots of bad to this movie, though, but you would recommend it, right? Like, you gotta see it.
I would be careful to recommend it. I feel like I can appreciate... I feel like because we were watching this movie for a podcast, I can appreciate what went wrong a little better, right? But if I had gone and seen this in a theater, or if I was going to just watch this for enjoyment, like the hard cuts would have just made me sick to my stomach. Like it hurts my mind.
Well,
it hurts my mind.
I'm serious. I had so much fun. I'm instantly like, I gotta go watch the sequel now. And I did.
I enjoyed it. It was like one of those ones where it's not a great film. You're never gonna like put it in your top 10, but it's way more entertaining than I bet you half the movies on that top 100 movie list for that year.
So Mathew, Siskel and Ebert didn't review it because of its limited release, but Siskel was dead anyhow. Do you think he was rolling over in his grave?
Yeah, they wouldn't have liked this because there's just so much technically wrong with it.
I asked AI to review it as though they were Siskel and Ebert. And AI Gene Siskel said, Boondock Saints makes mistakes swagger for substance, piling on stylized violence without earning its moral weight. And artificial intelligent Roger Ebert would acknowledge the raw energy and memorable Willem Dafoe performance, but would argue the film is more impressed with its cool than its ideas. That sounds about right.
That's pretty good.
I love how you're starting to do AI versions of these guys.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, we're just gonna
embrace the technology.
Pretty soon, none of us will have to show up. We'll just have AI generator.
Well, if this movie has taught us one thing, it's that nothing is sacred.
It's true.
Okay, so remake. I already spoiled it that there was a remake. So Boondock Saints 2, and the Rotten Tomatoes score on that is a 23 and a 58. So critics didn't like it any better, and audience liked it half as much.
I would like to see a remake of the first one.
Yeah,
I'd like to have Danny Boyle direct it. Do you guys know who Danny Boyle is?
Oh yeah,
of course. Train Spotting and
oh yeah, excellent.
The brothers, I'd have Paul Mescal and Jacob Elordi. The Defoe's role, I would love to see John Hamm in this role.
Oh,
I'd like to see Defoe in it now. If you're remaking it with all those people, Matthew, put Defoe back in.
He looks the same.
John Hamm is really interesting to me.
Yeah, and Rocco, Francis McDormand, and Yakavetta would be Aubrey Plaza.
Great job.
I didn't put that much thought.
And I'd want Paul Mescal and Jacob Elordi. Maybe they're not brothers because I'd kind of like a sex scene between the two of them.
Mm.
Wow.
That in the jail with the water. Yeah.
Really tie in with Catholicism here.
Wow. Yeah. Then you got back-to-back films. You got Willem Dafoe and Ron Jeremy to warm up. Well, just for anybody that loves this series,
technically it'd be a front-to-back
film. For anyone that's a fan of this series, Boondock Saints 3 is in development. Reedus and Flannery are reprising their roles, but Duffy not directing.
I wonder if he's going to get any credit.
They'll probably throw him some money for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Here's $10 million.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up and stay in the bar. By the way, he got a bar out of it too. First thing they gave him is they gave him the contract to develop it, and they bought his bar for him. So
nobody goes there because he's a dick.
Probably.
So you're gonna give us more stuff. Has he repented? Is he a nicer person now?
He's, from what I can tell, I did some research on it. From what I can tell, he hasn't repented. He's not poor. I thought he would be broke because of some of the decisions he made. He's on the outs in Hollywood. Like, if you watch the documentary, everybody, like all the big stars, are visiting him and fawning over him like he's somebody, and I don't get it because he was like just a bartender, right? And you saw the list of big stars that were like, oh, please put me in this film. I don't understand it. Like, if you had a first time you're a big star and you had a first time director and you weren't sure what kind of work he's putting out, would you risk your reputation on it?
Not if he was mean, according to, I'm not saying he's mean. I haven't met him. Maybe I find his humor funny, but
maybe
he
must have been very charismatic.
But I looked it up.
Probably fun.
His current net worth is listed at $20 million. So obviously he's made some money along the way somewhere. So,
wow.
Okay, guys, is this movie too old or pure gold?
I'd call it bronze in that some of the scenes, like Defoe's in it, and it's watchable, but it's not even close to gold then or now. No.
I'd say it's cult gold, more along like what Matthew's saying, bronzy. But if you're into these kind of movies, you'll love it. If you're not, if you're looking for something high end and well developed, it's not going to do it for you.
Well put.
Yeah, it's like fool's gold. It's like gold in the pot at the end of the rainbow because it's St. Paddy's Day, right? And the pot is for shitting in, right? Like
I enjoyed watching it, but it by no way is it a great film, right?
If you're drunk with your buddies at 2 a.m. and you all want to get together and watch a movie while you're eating a pizza, this is probably the movie for you.
This would make a great get drunk on St. Paddy's Day and watch this movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I call it pure gold. I mean, just because I had such a good time watching it. I agree with everything you guys said. It's not a good film. The editing is just a clusterfuck, but I had so much fun watching it. I don't know what it is about it. Just the characters were so fun, and the concept is good. Concept is solid, right?
Concept was there. Actors were there.
That's why I want to remake. I'd love to see it done with a really good director and a really good editor.
A good editor. I cannot stress enough how important the editor would be to this movie.
Maybe Olen, our buddy from Peaky Blinders, could edit it.
Oh yeah, we'll talk to Gareth. We'll get Gareth to do this with us.
Yeah, tell Gareth to edit it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me on a Sunday morning doing this. Thanks for watching the film. And Clef, you got anything to plug? You might as well plug your album. We told people to go find it. Where can they find it?
Yeah, it's called Left Coast by Clef Seeley. And you can find it everywhere where there's music. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Music. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Tidal. You can anywhere there's music, you can find it. It's great. And on Bandcamp. You can buy it directly from Bandcamp too.
Cool. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
We're out.